Welcome everyone here to the Smash Evening Show right here on Smash FM here on a Saturday of course, the Melbourne long weekend. But I'm currently here in Sydney on the road, of course, here at Botany. But let's turn our attention to music, and of course, it is an honour to have this a very special music artist from the Central Coast. Of course, her name is Ella. She joins us right now. Thanks, Ella, for joining us.
Hi, good morning. Thank you so much for having me. It's great that we can finally have a chat. I know we've had to try and get our schedules to line up a few times, so it's lovely to be talking to you.
No, that's all right. No worries, Ella. Obviously, tonight you've actually got a performance later tonight up there. Tell us, what's your rituals on a normal performance night gig?
Oh, yes. Okay. I have a Manuka honey and lemon drink before I sing normally, and then I do a bunch of warm-ups. I sing two songs that are a bit lower than what I'd normally sing them, and it's quite funny. You have to do really like exaggerated mouth movements to try and warm everything up. So I try and do that in private so no one thinks I'm a lunatic. Um, and then I do like sirens, kind of like a ambulance sound, because that warms up your whole voice. And then afterwards, I will then I've got this like special throat remedy tea that I get from a lady here on the Central Coast. Um, and that's kind of the routine I do every time. If it's a bigger band show or a big festival set, I try to warm up my whole body, because you're doing a lot of performing and like moving around the stage, and we all have a little chat before we go on, or stand around in a circle. It's like, all right, let's do this, psych ourselves up. So yeah, they're probably the main things that I do, but I think the most important thing is the vocal care after you've got off stage, and warming down and having those soothing drinks, gargling with salt water, especially when you're like doing shows back to back as well.
Talk a bit about your new single that was released already, which is Country Love, which is already out now. Tell us a bit about it to our viewers and listeners that's watching this.
Yeah, so I released Country Love back in November. It's my most recent release. And I was actually going into the studio to record a completely different song. And 3 weeks before I went into the studio, I started writing Country Love. And it's hard to explain, but sometimes you just get this gut feeling that that's the right song to release, and everything just feels right about it. So I followed that instinct. So when I actually went into the studio to record it, the song was only 3 weeks old, which is very fresh to record a song. So I felt like it was still kind of developing even in that recording stage. Like I was still changing lyrics, and I didn't finalize the lyrics to the day I actually recorded the song. But I wrote it. It's quite funny. I wrote it about I was in a previous relationship, and being a country artist, you've got that stereotype of like the cowboy and all that. And I was dating someone who actually pretended to be a cowboy and to be all into the country stuff, because he thought, because I was a country singer, that's all I would go for. Quite funny. He faked the whole thing. We're not together anymore, but it just made me laugh because I was like, the whole stereotype, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what I wrote the song about, a bit of, Taylor Swift style, writing about your ex. Um, but it was funny. I enjoyed writing it, and I've said that, like, this story so many times at gigs and stuff, and people just find it so funny because it's just so random, like where a song can come from. So yeah, that's what Country Love is about.
It's 5 months since that released back in November last year. How's the reactions been like to it?
Oh, so good. It has been streamed all around the world, through Spotify, Apple Music, been added to some huge playlists, and the radio for it has been insane. Like we've been in US, Ireland, UK, Canada, where was the other? Brazil, um, just so many awesome places. And obviously the community radios and commercial radios around Australia have been incredible. Like the support is just huge. ABC, Triple M, all those stations, and then awesome, community radios and podcasts as well, which is really, I think, what makes the difference is getting that support from Australian community radio. and yeah, it's just been incredible. Everyone's embraced it so much, and the feedback I've had has been really awesome. So yeah, can't complain. It's been a good 5 months.
You mentioned before you released this song, you were in the studio, obviously, I'm assuming recording another song. Has that other song come out yet?
No, I actually didn't end up recording that one that I went in with. I know my producers are probably hating me. I change my mind all the time. Um, but I am in the process of being back in the studio now, and very similar. I've just done the same thing again. I had like 3 demos and sent them off, and then actually like 2 weeks ago I wrote a brand new song, and it just happened again. I feel like that's my writing process, is once I'm ready to record, I write a better one. So that's all happening again. So I'm going into the studio soon. It's all being sent off to Nashville, musicians putting all the final touches on it, and then hopefully it'll be released in the next couple months. But there's still a little way to go, but it is on the way.
Oh no, normally I would ask this question later on, but I'm going to ask it now because you just prompted me to saying it. So you mentioned that this is the second time it's happened where you go to a studio, but then you wrote a song, and obviously that you're going to end up releasing that one. So does it come sort of in the moment, like simultaneously?
Yeah, I think being a creative, the whole thing is a very weird process, because you can have a song, like I've had a few songs that are in the background I've worked on for a year, and that I'm still like, oh, you know what? I don't feel like it's ready to perform at my shows and festival sets yet. And then there might be a song I work on for a few months, and then you get these random songs which don't really happen often, where it's almost like it just comes to you, like you get this title. I then pick up the guitar, I start sort of getting a melody. That's where I start, is like a title, a melody, the guitar part, and then I branch the lyrics from there. It's almost a brainstorm. So like, for example, I'd have Country Love in the middle and brainstorm out all different ideas, and then I kind of work on the lyrics, because I find lyrics isn't something that comes as naturally to me as what the hook and the melody and everything else does. And it's something I like to put together. I almost think of it as poetry, someone doesn't really write a poem in 20 seconds, you know what I mean? So it's that crafting it, and where listeners can understand it, and the clever writing as well, I think, comes out when you sit on it for a bit longer. So even if a song does take 10 minutes to write, I will still take time to really refine those lyrics, because that's what's, I think, really important to me. Some artists don't. Some artists just release it how it is, and I think that's awesome as well. But my process isn't that, I guess.
Now, you mentioned that the one you're about to release a little bit later on, in the year, obviously you sent that to Nashville, which is obviously the home of music capital of the world, Nashville, Tennessee. So tell us, how did that all come about? And have you ever been to the music city of Nashville, Tennessee?
Yeah, so I have so many friends and awesome connections with labels and everything over there. I do a lot of interviews from over there as well, and I met a lot of musicians through my producers. They obviously have really good connections over there, so normally they produce the song, and then when a specific instrument's needed, pedal steel, mandolin, violin, all those kinds of instruments, we then send it over to Nashville, to the session musicians over there that they have good relationships with, which is good because I've been able to form good relationships with them. I've never gone to Nashville. No, I want to go so bad, and I'm seeing everyone over there. So the goal is in the next year or two, to make it over there, but I'm still considered a child over there. So that's a shame. But when I turn 21, that's probably the goal, is to go over, and then I can, represent myself with labels and everything. Don't have to have an adult with me. So yeah.
Now, minus this weekend, obviously, that you're performing at the moment, do you have any more performances or gigs coming up to continue this amazing country love song that obviously I've actually heard on the way here to Sydney, which is pretty amazing, actually.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm actually just fresh off the back of playing at the Taylor Swift Eras Tour. Yeah, I performed in Sydney for the 4 nights. I was the support act of the support act, if you will. So I was performing on the main stage outside of Accor before Sabrina Carpenter came on over the 4 nights. So it's kind of been pretty crazy few weeks since that. The fan base has grown massively and I've met so many amazing people. So yeah, there's heaps more shows coming up. I'm supporting the Whitlams tomorrow actually. And then I'm jumping on Ash Grunwald's tour in April. And then I've got a bunch of festival and band shows in the lineup, which I'm about to sort of release the dates for pretty soon. So yeah, there's so much going on. It's pretty crazy.
I need to ask this. You mentioned about the Taylor Swift concert only 2 weeks ago here in Sydney. How did that come about? And I have to ask, have you met Taylor Swift?
No, I didn't get to meet
Oh,
her, unfortunately. Yeah, I know I was a bit devastated. I was hoping I would, but I actually just got an email from um an agency that had seen me through social media, really liked my vibe and thought I would be a good suit for it. So yeah, they sent me an email and I got the email and I was like, "Whoa, is this real?" Um, and yeah, well, it was. So yeah, it was pretty crazy. And I think Taylor Swift fans like are the best kind of people too. Like the vibe, the atmosphere was just something else. Like I'll definitely cherish those 4 days for a very long time. It was very exhausting, but it was just incredible experience.
you mentioned about you were before Sabrina Carpenter. The act. Did you meet her? And did she give you any words of advice?
Unfortunately, I didn't meet her either. We were
Oh,
kind of like yeah, they were kind of in their own section. I was the little one over there. Um, but no, so I didn't get to meet them. I thought maybe I would have got to meet Sabrina, but one of the nights she got cancelled because of the rain, and then there was another night it was really intensely hot. So I think the weather also stopped that as well. Um, but you never know. Like they obviously heard me singing, so um, I guess we'll just see if anything comes of it. But if not, it was an amazing opportunity in itself. So yeah, I'm grateful for it.
I'm in Sydney, but I have to ask for our Melbourne listeners, are you performing down in Melbourne anytime soon?
I've always wanted to come to Melbourne. I haven't so far. Um, I think there are a few festivals and stuff down there. I don't have anything in the pipeline at the moment, but if any of anyone listening today knows any venues or any festivals that I'd be suited to, then yeah, reach out. Just Ella Powell on Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, anywhere, or my email, and let me know. I'd love to come to Melbourne because I've got some awesome fans based down there. And I think it's one of the best cities, so I'd love to come.
Ah, there you go. All right, we'll see what we can do to make sure you come down to Melbourne. Let's talk a bit about your music journey. Where did it all start, and why did you choose it, Ella?
Yeah, wow, it was a long time ago. I think I was about 4 years old and I was singing around the house and I was really bad, like really bad at singing at that point. And mum and dad were like, "Oh, we need to get her some lessons because she's singing so much, but she's not very good." So, um, I went and started singing lessons at a very early age. And then when I was 6, I picked up the guitar. My dad's a teacher and a friend that he knew gave me a couple lessons, but I think I was a bit too young. And I was getting really frustrated because my fingers were too small and I couldn't really do it very well. So I got rid of it. I was like, I'm never doing it again. And then when I was 10 years old, the music teacher at dad's school said that because I was like had really gotten into singing and I was performing in competitions and all that kind of stuff, I should learn guitar. So I went into the studio and he taught me a few chords. Um, and I've never looked back since. Like that was really the moment. Like I'm so thankful for him because if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't have picked up the guitar again. And then for my early teenage years, I started writing. I released my first song when I was 10. You will not be able to find it anywhere. It's deleted everywhere. It's tragic. Um,
Uh,
but I started writing when I was, yeah, 10. And then when I was 14, I went to the Tamworth Country Music Festival. First time going, dad was like, come on, let's go. I'm so lucky to have the supportive parents that I do. And we just chopped the guitar and he was like, let's go and busk, see what happens. And then I ended up winning People's Choice Award there, which was really huge. I performed in, yeah, in front of a good 5,000 to 6,000 people. And, you know, at 14, I hadn't really performed in front of that many people yet. Um, and it kind of cemented for me that, oh, I can like, there's a career in this for me, and there's a spot within country and pop music, like that blend that I can do. You know, it's because when I used to think of country, I used to think of that really traditional country sound, and I knew that wasn't me. But now it's evolved so much. You know, you've got artists like Taylor Swift, Kelsey Ballerini, Kaylee Bell, all those kind of artists doing that country pop vibe. That's sort of where I started to lean into. And then COVID came, and it gave me time to sort of, I then connected with my producer, my publicist, the label, everything I have now sort of came from COVID. Um, and just went from there, started releasing, and it's just been nonstop ever since. So that's kind of the story. It goes back a good, what, I'm 20 now, so 14 years. Um, but yeah, just getting started really.
some highlights throughout your music journey, other than the one which we've been talking about, your single "Country Love."
Yeah, so definitely winning People's Choice Award. That was probably my first major award I won. I won National Junior Songwriter of the Year back in 2021 with my first single, Paper Town, the Taylor Swift concert, as we mentioned. Um, my two singles, Along the Way and Behind the Glass, are the most successful ones I've had. I think Along the Way, tallying all streams from everywhere, is nearly on like 500,000. And it kind of uh took me to like the next level, and brought in a lot of opportunities. I've supported some awesome artists. I've sung on stage with some incredible like Australian country music artists, Adam Harvey, Casey Chambers. Um, yeah, gosh, I'm trying to think. Oh, I was a finalist in the international songwriting competition, which was quite cool as well to have, you know, my songs. I think it was Along the Way, be put on, you know, such a international level, been on some really good charts. I think Along the Way was like the fourth most listened to song on radio in the release week, which was really cool out of all genres. So yeah, there's been quite a few highlights. Yeah.
What does the music industry, especially country music, mean to you?
Everything really. It's me. It is me. It's what I've realized I wanted to do from a very early age. It's what I live and breathe. It's my whole life, really, like everything, all my connections, all these years have been based around music for me. It's helped me through a lot of things. I've gone through quite a lot of challenges, as a lot of people have. And it's been a way to release, you know, all those feelings and thoughts, and it's connected me to so many incredible people. And as an artist, I think you're always thinking about the listener. And some of the responses I've had, like I had a person during COVID message me, be like, these songs got them through it. Like they don't think they would have been here without my music and stuff. And I think that just sums up what music is and what country music is, especially. Like there's a very tight-knit country community here. Um, and I've made so many beautiful friends, and everyone is so supportive of each other too. And like, you know, the big artists are very supportive of the emerging ones. So I think that's very special to have here in Australia as well. So yeah, I'd say it's a very significant part of my life.
So, looking forward now, what is your future ambitions in country pop music, other than going to Nashville, Tennessee?
Yeah, apart from that one. So I'm looking at obviously releasing more. I've got a new single coming out soon. And then I'm working towards an album at the moment. That's in the background. It's been sort of in the works for a couple of years, but these things, take time and money. So I'm looking at releasing that probably next year. So that's a huge thing at the moment. I've got some other artists that I'm supporting that haven't been announced yet, but I'm going to be supporting some pretty cool artists as well. So I'll be touring with them. And then I'm hoping to do my own headline tour nationally, which will be really cool. So that's kind of this year. And then obviously next year, album, hopefully Nashville, some festivals as well. A lot of the lineups, because it got cancelled in 2021 and 2022, they had to use like those pre-lineups were for 2023 and 2024. So hopefully next year, looking at getting on some big lineups, which will be awesome. Yeah, like there's a lot going on.
What will be your advice to people that should get involved in country music?
Do it. You won't regret it. If you're looking, like, if you want to become an artist and become a performer, I think, they say it's what, like 10,000 hours or something to be good at something. It's a lot of hard work, so you have to be passionate and determined, willing to sacrifice some things, but once you get there, you won't regret it at all. Reach out to local places in your community that have live music. Go to open mic nights. Record some songs, even if you don't think they're great, and send them off and get advice from people. Do research. Look at who your favorite artists are signed to, or who they're listening to, and who those artists are listening to. Build a big mind map of people you want to be like, and just work really hard. Go to Tamworth if you want to be in the country music scene. Head to Tamworth, head to those big festivals every year and talk to people, network with people. That's probably my biggest advice, is to start there, and then from there it will just keep growing, but you've just got to put in the hard yards, really.
Finish off with a couple of light-hearted questions before I let you go, which is,
Okay.
do you have an embarrassing moment on stage?
Okay, yes, I've got a few. So I would have been about 12 years old, but this memory still lives on. I was supporting Ellie Drennan on her tour, because when she just won The Voice, and I was so unwell, and I still played because I was like, no, like, I'm doing this. And there was two support acts. So there was me and another person. And as I introduced the person coming up onto the stage, because I was like so delirious, there was a poster next to me with, I think it was like, I can't even remember who it was called, but I introduced this person's name on the poster as coming up next rather than the person that was actually coming up. And everyone kind of just looked around like, what is she talking about? And he gets up, it's like, oh, actually, my name is, and I was like, oh, that was a very embarrassing moment, because I think he was a pretty like high up artist, and I'm there like 12 years old with a really runny nose. Um, obviously we won't be able to do that anymore, COVID age. But yeah, it was the whole thing. The whole thing was a bit tragic.
It still lives with you now. So, have you ever forgotten a lyric to a song? And if so, how have you tried to cover it up?
Oh, yeah, that happens a fair bit. Like when I think, oh, actually, it was I did a tour back in 2022, and two of my songs sounded quite similar in the intro. So I'd played one song, and then a few songs later, I was playing this next one, but I started singing the song that I'd already sung. And my guitarist turned around to me and was like, that's the wrong song. It's like, that's the wrong song. And these are my songs too. And I think the adrenaline and everything, I just forgot. But we laughed it off. I was like, oh, sorry guys, you've already heard this one. Good thing Toby knows what's going on. Um, and and we kind of just, yeah, brushed it off and kept going. That's the beauty of live music. Like, you're not going to be perfect all the time. When there's so many people watching you and there's that pressure, you are going to make mistakes, but that's what makes it authentic too. Like, you're not going up there to be absolutely perfect. You're human, which is something that I remember I try to remember. And when those things happen, I just brush it off. I think that comes with experience too, you know, like maybe when I was 12 years old, I would have been upset over it for days, but it doesn't bother me anymore.
I have to ask now, how can, of course, our listeners get to follow you on the social media?
Yes, so you guys can find me under my name, Ella Powell, on Facebook, Instagram. My website's ellapowell.com. All my music is anywhere you can find music, you should be able to find me. Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, everywhere you can find music. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Just all the socials under Ella Powell.
Now, the reason I asked that question, because on your Insta one, on your bio, it says half cowgirl, half princess. Can you explain that more to us?
Yes. Yes. So that's what my kind of branding has been, because
Okay.
I always wanted to be a pop princess and I always wanted to be a cowgirl. And I could never decide between the two. So when I was, you know, in COVID and working out what I wanted to do and how I wanted to show myself and my branding through socials, I was like, you know what? We're just going to join the two. So a lot of my branding is maybe like a big puffy dress with cowgirl boots, or, you know, that kind of thing, sparkly, and a cowgirl hat. Like I'm bringing together those two genres. And I think that kind of defines me too, because my music is either it's between that, you know, pop and that country element. So that's kind of what that means. Yeah.
We'll finish with these last two. Have you got any merchandise that our listeners or viewers can purchase anytime
Yeah,
soon?
yeah, it's on its way. It is being worked on and shipped right now. So, yes, it should be here within the next couple weeks or a month, depending. I feel like it's never as straightforward as that.
Uh,
But it should be here very soon to purchase. So that will be cool. I've been working on that in the background for a little while, and the lady who does all my artwork is just incredible. So I'm so happy with it.
would you like to give her a shout out then, the lady that does your artwork?
Yeah, her name's Sarah Evans. She's from the coast as well. She does photography. I think her page is Sarah Whitney Photography on Instagram. And she is just a mastermind. She is incredible.
And we'll finish with this very last one. How important has your family and your parents been throughout this whole journey? Considering you mentioned that obviously your parents got you to go to, I guess, music school, I guess, to kickstart all this. How important they've been throughout this journey from when you first started to where you are now?
Yeah, my family and my entire world, like I'm very, very close with them. I have a little sister and then mum and dad and a dog. So we all are at home together. And it's, I honestly wouldn't be here without them, like all that support that they gave, the time that they took to take me to all my shows. And also like they're the first people I show new music to. They're people I bounce ideas off. Like they're not in the music industry. None of my family are. But we've all kind of learned and grown with it together. And I think that's such a beautiful thing to have three people that just, you know, have your back no matter what. And they're my world. Yeah. There's not really words, like they're everything to me and they've got me here.
Well, Ella, thank you so much for giving up some of your time this morning to join us, and especially on the night of your performance up there on the Central Coast. And hopefully that all goes well as usual. And can't wait to obviously get to see you back in, hopefully down in Melbourne very soon. And as I said, listening to Country Love on the way here to Sydney today, it was one of the best ones I've heard. So thank you so much. And it's absolutely honor to have you on the show.
Oh, thank you for having me. No, it's been a great chat. I've enjoyed it. A bit of fun. Nice way to start Saturday morning. Yeah, thank you. And thanks everyone for listening. I hope you all have a wonderful day and I'll keep in contact. I'll speak to you soon.
No worries. And that's Ella Powell there joining us. Of course, we'll put all the details up on how you can follow her on the socials, and of course, and also how you can get her music as well on your favorite streaming services. There's more on the Smash Evening Show right after this. Don't go away here on the 10th year celebration.
Hey, it's Ella Powell here, and you're listening to Smash FM.